After so many intense battles against the monsters on the surface, it's finally time for the S-Class genius to show why he carries the title of the Association's prodigy. Get ready for insane inventions, giant robots, mind games, and a war between reason and instinct, because today the battle is Kid Emperor versus Phoenix Man. And if you're curious to see how this fight unfolds, stick with me and don't forget to drop a like. I'm Lucas and you're watching Ota Sense. In another part of the Monster Association base, Kid Emperor checks his tracker and concludes that the one moving at extreme speed was Flash. While scanning the area, he admires the S-Class heroes who in a situation like this can handle things on their own. He isn't worried about any of them, but he needs to hurry to rescue the hostage and reduce the pressure of the battle that is about to come. As a leader, his job is to allow everyone to fight without restrictions. As he sneaks through the tunnels, a monster prepares to attack him from behind, but one of his robots was already on standby. With a single strike, he turns the monster into a sieve. He continues on until he enters a room and finds Drive Knight completely destroyed, torn into pieces. He is shocked by the condition he was left in and declares that no matter what, he does not want to run into Orochi. Since Drive Knight does not respond, Kid Emperor decides to collect information directly from the machine. He doesn't care what kind of information he finds, as long as there is something about the hostage. He worries about the possibility of the monsters studying the robot's technology, since it was created specifically to kill monsters. Even irritated, he discovers the hostage's location. He opens a lollipop to relieve stress, since getting irritated will only interfere with his thinking. But soon after, he finds one of his robots completely destroyed. When he looks again, he sees one of the association's executives, Phoenix Man. The monster lectures the boy and declares that he will not go easy on him just because he is a child. He says that he is not an executive but possesses a talent that even the executives do not have. But that is not something a child with a stupid superhero name would be able to understand. He declares that since the boy is a smart child, he was already placed in S-Class, and that is why his death will be a great tragedy. He says that a hero should not take praise from adults too seriously, and that he should only believe in himself, just like he does, since he is using the association as a stepping stone and one day will steal Orochi's title as king. He declares himself to be Phoenix Man, a man who one day could no longer take off his costume and, when he realized it, had already become a monster. He says that the hero will die there, but that he can give him a quick and painless death as he prepares his high-speed peck attack. When he finally launches the attack, it is stopped by a transparent, impenetrable wall. Kid Emperor explains that while he was talking, he had time to fire and prepare the wires. That is a transparent film capable of withstanding sudden attacks, which he even named the Invisible Wall. Realizing that he could talk with the monster, he even thought about capturing him. But now that he is in a bad mood, he begins his attack with countless tools to dissect the monster. He unleashes a barrage of blows on every part of the monster's body. He defeats Phoenix Man and even mocks him, saying that he wasn't even that strong to have entered the Monster Association. But he thanks him because after releasing his anger, he now feels calmer. Inside Wagama's cell, a frog robot jumps toward him and sticks to his mouth. In a short time, smoke spreads throughout the area, causing the monsters to fall without any reaction. Kid Emperor takes advantage, cuts the bars of the cell, and finally reaches the hostage. But right after that, the slug monster appears on the ceiling and falls on the hero, trying to choke him. Kid Emperor protects himself with a shield from his umbrella and with a technological flute creates a laser sword. He then attacks the monster with countless slashes, but he realizes that blades have no effect on it. He tries several other weapons as well, but also without success. When the monster boasts about being immune, he realizes that the hero injected something into his body. Not only that, he also throws a lit match, making the monster explode instantly. Now in possession of the hostage, Kid Emperor needs to be even more careful, so he uses a remote-controlled scout to go ahead, but the robot is soon completely destroyed. The one who did this was one of the Monster Association executives, XXXXX. Realizing that it is a machine-type monster, Kid Emperor launches missiles toward it. missiles that create a high voltage cage with the goal of shutting the robot down. But with a simple swing of its sword, the monster frees itself from the trap and keeps advancing, to the hero's astonishment. As the monster advances, Kid Emperor launches 3 underdogs to protect them, then fuses the 3 into an underdog Cerberus. While his sentinels attack, Kid Emperor launches pencil-shaped missiles with cover fire. The missiles hit the monster and release a slime that restricts its movements, opening space for Cerberus to launch its attack with spinning punches. Meanwhile, Kid Emperor takes the chance to flee with Waganma. During the escape, they come across Phoenix Man's body on the ground. Waganma comments that he looks like a character from a dark comedy series that was cancelled, and the funny thing is that the character always died and came back in the next episode. That information puts Kid Emperor on alert, since the costume may have acquired the power of the mascot. It doesn't take long before a burst of light explodes behind them. When they look back, they find a new monster, happy for having discovered that facing a near-death hell makes someone evolve even further. In his new form, the resurrected Phoenix Man appears more humanoid with phoenix-like traits. Without wasting time, Kid Emperor uses another one of his creations, a bird shotgun, but with a single flap of his wings, Phoenix Man returns the attack, creating a dome of compressed air mass. This forces Kid Emperor to protect himself together with Waganma using his shield umbrella. He then leaves the shield and orders Waganma to remain protected inside it, while he runs to confront the monster far from the boy. He prepares all of his remaining weapons since he no longer has any underdogs available. With shield and sword, he positions himself in front of the monster and declares that he will defeat him once again. The monster launches another attack, but it is blocked by yet another transparent shield. He says he will test it with another peck, while Kid Emperor waits for an opening to finish him as before, especially since his shield now has 5 layers instead of 1. The monster advances with his explosive peck, so absurd it seems capable of breaking space itself. To the hero's shock, he manages to break through all 5 barriers and hit Kid Emperor, who needs to use yet another shield to protect himself. Even so, the impact bends the shield and sends the hero flying. The monster boasts that he is now stronger and about the sense of omnipotence this gives him. So full of himself, he declares that he is the strongest being among all living creatures. Because of that, Kid Emperor cries, not out of fear but out of shattered expectations. That monster in front of him isn't even the final boss and has already exceeded his expectations. That forces him to use his secret weapon. He begins to modify himself and activates his clock-based secret weapon, summoning the brave giant. Soon after, a massive tremor is felt throughout the Monster Association base. This is the result of 5 technological drills rushing toward him at full speed. When they reach him, the drills open and begin to surround his body. After a massive explosion, the hero shouts that now he is going all out and charges into the attack. He lands a powerful slap that sends the monster flying. The impact is so strong that the monster crashes through countless pillars before finally stopping. It doesn't take long before Kid Emperor cuts through the wall to chase after him. That's when we are introduced to his true trump card, an absurd technological Megazord. From inside the robot, he declares that he had left some parts scattered throughout the underground as a precaution. But when questioned why he didn't use that earlier to escape with the hostage, it becomes clear that he cannot use that robot for very long. He knows he doesn't have time and must finish this as quickly as possible. He prepares to attack but regrets having to use his trump card against that monster instead of Orochi. Then he grabs Waganma and declares that he needs to get him out of the underground as soon as possible. With everything ready, he activates an energy sword and shield and shouts that now it begins. Phoenix Man mocks Kid Emperor's robot, but at the same time feels that encountering that boy after his resurrection was destiny. Even so, for him, not even that robot changed anything. Then he uses one of his special abilities. With that, he summons Kid Emperor to a dimension where he does not possess his technological equipment. According to the monster, he can mentally connect with those who wear costumes, and only those can enter there, as if there were another dimension inside the costume itself. According to Phoenix Man, Kid Emperor is the first hero he has brought to this dimension, with the intention of recruiting him to become a monster. Kid Emperor is shocked, but the monster says that among all heroes, he is the one who holds the most darkness within himself. Kid Emperor argues that there are heroes far more evil than him. Then the monster replies that he must be the one who stresses the most. The monster reveals that they are only astral projections and therefore cannot physically touch each other there. He tries to persuade the hero to join the monster association. Kid Emperor knows that this is a trick, so he pretends to go along with the conversation about creating a new organization better than the monster association, one that would reach the god-level disaster rank. But soon he begins to realize that the conversation starts to make some sense. The monster says he will teach how to turn a costume into a monster and strengthen the body. He tries to make Kid Emperor accept monsterification and reincarnate. His goal is for him to be reborn as the monster brave giant man. But before that can happen, he is hit by a massive punch from the brave giant. At first, he thinks that Kid Emperor didn't like the name, but then realizes that what he truly didn't like was the entire conversation. To defend himself, the monster enters his prominent eagle mode. He then kicks the robot away with such force that countless pillars are destroyed. Kid Emperor realizes that only 3 seconds passed inside that space. The monster is impressed that he escaped the Phoenix dimension using willpower alone. Now fully muscular, he prepares to persuade Kid Emperor through brute force, and the real battle finally begins. He plans to change the hero's mind by showing all of his magnificent power. The moment he advances, he moves so fast that the hero cannot even see him moving. The only reaction Kid Emperor has is to raise his shields to protect himself, even without knowing where the attack is coming from. He realizes the monster is even faster in his Phoenix Fire Falcon form. The monster attacks the armor from all directions at an absurd speed, like a hurricane, but Kid Emperor prepares his energy rope. He then launches his 20,000 jump ropes simultaneously to protect himself and try to hit the monster. The hero charges straight at the enemy and an aerial battle begins, with the giant robot pursuing the Phoenix. This pursuit is so absurd that they cross countless rooms of the association within seconds. As a counterattack, Phoenix Man launches a massive fire blast toward the hero. The attack hits the brave giant's hands to prevent him from counterattacking. When Kid Emperor tries to react again with his omnidirectional attack, he ends up being captured by an electromagnetic net. The hero had placed several of those nets across the battlefield while they were flying. Then he lands a massive direct punch on the immobilized monster. Phoenix Man still tries to persuade the hero one more time, but it's useless. He takes a monstrous punch head on. Or at least that's what it seemed like, because the monster manages to defend himself using his 10,000 degree prominence, a temperature so absurd it even burns Kid Emperor's real fist. Through his radar, the hero detects a lake 50 meters below. Then he unleashes full power into the punch to drive the monster straight down into it. His idea is to crush the enemy while he cools down in the underground water currents. However, for a moment, Kid Emperor feels confused. Even with no intention of joining the enemy, he realizes that no one has ever told him that they truly needed him. The plan works, and they both fall into the lake, exactly the same place where Flash's battle took place. In one of the tunnels, Saitama feels another tremor but concludes that the most important thing at that moment is to wash his dirty outfit. At that moment, he is dragged by a water vortex created by the impact of Phoenix Man's ultra-high temperature body. They are thrown into ruins even deeper than the Monster Association labyrinth. Saitama wonders if the one responsible for that is really that giant mecha. Even during the fall, Kid Emperor doesn't waste time and keeps attacking, until he looks to the side and realizes there is a human there. He decides he will save that man and tells him not to move. Through gestures, Saitama tries to explain that he can't hear anything he is saying. In the end, they fail to understand each other. Phoenix Man takes advantage of this opportunity to escape using his penguin mode. Kid Emperor still tries to capture him, but he escapes. Right after that, he counterattacks by launching a giant iceberg, sinking the battlefield even further. When they finally land, they realize they are in a monster cemetery. While Phoenix Man is speaking, the hero even tries to hit him, but fails. Kid Emperor takes Waganma out of his backpack and puts him together with Saitama inside the protective barrier. Without further delay, the two unleash their massive energy attacks against each other. The impact throws Waganma away, which makes Saitama worried about the boy and also about the direction of Kid Emperor's battle. The hero knows he cannot hesitate, but at that moment he is dragged once again into the Phoenix dimension. The monster still hasn't given up on trying to convince him to join his side. He shows a pile of monster corpses in front of them that for some reason turned against one another. But to him, costume monsters share the same spirit and therefore would never fight among themselves. Then he shows a vision of the crimes committed by the higher-ups of the Hero Association. Heinous crimes that Kid Emperor didn't even know about, but that he had indirectly helped. That vision makes the hero question who he truly works for and what his actions really are. And it also forces him to face his greatest nightmare, being seen as just a child, even though he is an S-class hero. Phoenix Man declares that becoming a monster saved his life, because after acting for many years, he was simply fired. He says he thought it was unfair to have to take off that costume after so long, and when the costume refused to come off, he had already become a monster. He starts getting into the hero's head by questioning whether the hero costume he wears has ever given him anything in return, whether power, freedom, or recognition. Once again, he asks Kid Emperor to join him and be reborn as a monster. But suddenly, to everyone's shock, Saitama appears behind them and says, "Becoming a monster and turning evil isn't cool at all." They wonder how that guy got there. Saitama simply replies that he punched his way in, even though it was a spiritual space. He came there just to scold the monster for messing with a child's head, and also says that if he wants something, he should earn it himself. Phoenix Man freezes when facing Saitama, who even asks if those tremors on the surface were caused by him. Under that much pressure, the monster gulps and dissolves his spiritual space. He does that because he realizes that if he touches even one finger on that bald guy, things will go very badly. At the same time, Kid Emperor returns to normal and receives a call from Zombie Man. He calls to thank him for the tip about the weakness of possible robots created from Metal Knight. For the first time, someone officially recognizes Kid Emperor's effort. Zombie Man apologizes and thanks him, saying that everyone is counting on him. This is the recognition Kid Emperor had always waited for, and because of that, he begins to cry. Zombie Man adds that when all of this is over, they should go get milkshakes together, his treat. With that recognition, Kid Emperor gains the confidence he needed to finally go all out in this battle. Phoenix Man uses yet another ability, one that brings all the corpses in that place back to life. He orders them all to immobilize the giant robot. Since Kid Emperor's body is linked to it, the hero ends up completely immobilized. The monster stands before Kid Emperor and asks whether he should let the monsters devour his brain. He declares that the hero will become a monster, and that now this is no longer a choice. Then he throws a monster cell which pierces the robot's armor and goes straight toward the hero's mouth. Kid Emperor tries every possible way to dodge the cell, and Saitama realizes that he is in trouble. But just as he is about to act, he sees that the hero still hasn't given up fighting. Kid Emperor then declares that being a hero is not just about wearing a costume, but something that comes from within. He says that the monster was the only one who borrowed power from a costume, but he wants to follow the example of the hero he always wanted to be. With that declaration, Phoenix Man gives up on trying to convince him. From that moment on, he decides to eat the hero's brain to prove just how much he had been holding back. As a final tactic, Kid Emperor unleashes the full power of his robot while shouting for Saitama to protect Waganma. With his Gigavolt Smash, he begins releasing an absurd amount of energy, until the robot finally explodes, taking all the surrounding corpses with it. The robot's head, with Kid Emperor inside it, is launched straight toward Phoenix Man. Just as the monster is about to kill the hero, Saitama appears behind him and grabs his arm. Even so, Phoenix Man is hit head-on by the giant robot's head. Even so, he remains standing. Waganma wonders how they are going to solve this now that the robot is gone. But Saitama says it's fine and even comments that the kid inside the robot looks pretty strong. Facing the monster, Kid Emperor hears that without his armor, standing in front of him is suicide. Laughing, Phoenix Man declares that that last attack didn't even scratch his body, but then he starts laughing uncontrollably and asks what exactly the hero did to his body. Kid Emperor then reveals that he threw a tickling robot insect between the monster's head and beak. He even tries to remove the insect but cannot. Kid Emperor warns that he should take off the costume or he will suffocate to death. Even under that torture, the monster refuses to remove the costume because Bird Brain is his soul. Still, he laughs so uncontrollably that he literally cracks his own body apart. Then, he explodes. But because he is a phoenix, that explosion does not result in his death. It results in his resurrection, but now in the form of a baby chick, with a disaster level below Wolf. In that state, he becomes so weak that even Waganma is able to defeat him. As Kid Emperor is about to pass out from exhaustion, Saitama catches him and declares that even if he sees himself as just a child, without a doubt, he is a great hero.